Mike Pennacchi with Network Protocol Specialists. When we go in and use tools like nslookup, a lot of times we use them the same way every time. We're looking up A records. In this tech tip, we're going to look at how we can use it to look up pointer records, start of authority records, and mail exchanger records, how that can be used to troubleshoot problems with name resolution. All right, let's get in here and take a look at some nslookup examples. So we could just do nslookup coreitpros.com, and it's going to come back with a non-authoritative answer. In this case, it went out to the server 10.0.0.46 and showed us an IP address that is associated with Core IT Pro. Let me retype that. We're going to say, because that didn't look right, I'm going to say pros.com. That looks better. So in this case, we come back and we see that we've got 3 IP addresses associated with that domain name. That's our A record right there. And that's what we end up using nslookup to do a lot of the time. But if I go into the interactive mode for nslookup and I say set type equal ns. So what I've done is I've set the type to name servers. I want to see who the authoritative name servers are. So if we look up here, we see that we got a non-authoritative answer. So this is a caching name server. It got the information from the authoritative server, but now it's handing it out, and it's really not authoritative because if there's a change made to the authoritative name server, this one may not reflect it right away. So I can come in now and say coreitpros.com. And now it gives me the authoritative name server information. So it tells us right here that the authoritative name servers are ns0.wixdns.net. And here's the IP address, and ns1.wixdns.net. So this is where we know we can go to get the most authoritative information for this particular domain. And any other caching DNS server is going to go back to these servers to get that information. So let me exit here real quick, and I'm going to clear my screen just so that we get a little bit better look. I don't want to scroll off the bottom on you. So we took a look at name server records. Let's look at the start of authority records. So I'm going to say set type equals SOA, and we're going to do coreitpros.com. So in this case, this shows us our start of authority record, and this gives us some information about the domain. And what this tells us is that, there's the authoritative DNS server. If we needed to contact somebody about this domain, we could come out here and go out to support at, they don't put the at in there, but we've got support at wix.com. We've got this serial number. Now the serial number gets updated every time we make a change to the DNS records in the domain. This ensures that any other domain servers that are communicating with this are updated, that serial number has changed, and they know that there's newer information out there. Also, we have our time to lives. So right here, our minimum time to live is 3,600 seconds or an hour. Now, what this means is that if a change is made to the authoritative DNS server, it could take up to an hour for that change to propagate out to all of the caching servers. Now, one that I really like is I'm going to say set type equal MX, and we'll say coreitpros.com. And this shows us our mail exchanger. So in this case, the mail exchanger for this domain is mx10.mailspamprotection.com. So anytime somebody goes to send an email to somebody at coreitpros.com, what will happen is it will look this up and it will get the IP address for that. Now we see right here, it didn't give us the IP address. So we could say set type equal A. I could grab that device right there. I could paste it in right here. We could look that up. Holy moly, look at that. So we see that there are a whole bunch of A records associated with that mail server. So it would send the email to one of these mail servers, and then it would get forwarded on. Now, let's come in and we're going to take a look at two more, and that is, I'm going to say nslookup, and I'm going to say set server equal 8.8.8.8. Or, oops, server equal 8.8.8.8. All right. All right, so now let's go in and take a look at a couple more options. So I'm going to say nslookup, and I'm going to put in server 8.8.8.8. Now, if you remember, we've been going to 10.0.0.46, which is my server. But by putting this in, we're now changing our default server. We will send all of our queries to this server. So if I say coreitpros.com, you'll notice that our information is coming from this server. So if we thought that maybe a server was giving out bad information, we could change the default server we're using and point all of our queries to that. And this is a great way to override whatever is being set in DHCP. The last one, I'm going to say set type equal PTR, server 10.0.0.46. I'm going to set it to my server. Now, in my server, I have pointer records in there, and I associate names with devices on my network. So if I say 10.0.0.85, well, that's my camera system. And a lot of the analysis equipment I use goes out and looks up the pointer records. And this is kind of interesting because this is what a pointer record actually looks at like. The address is backwards, and then we see inadder.arpa. So by going in and putting pointer records in your local DNSs, it makes it easier to keep track of what devices are out there. So those are some of the things that we can do with nslookup beyond just taking a look at the A record. So hopefully this tech tip has been useful for you. Go out, play around with nslookup, see what kind of information you can get out of there. And check out our other tech tips and enjoy Core IT Pros.